Oh, I'm getting a call from my brother. I was telling a story about me pooping and you've really interrupted it.
No, but who wants to hear about that?
Oh, no one. But they don't get a choice.
But you're telling a story about yourself taking your shit.
I mean, well, yeah.
That's not content. Everyone shit.
Somewhere unseen.
Yes.
You got a little longer, so it seems.
Still got it going on. Welcome to chapter 154 of Memoirs of a Boy with a Mildly Sore Thumb and a Mildly Sore Pinky. Both equally sore from a big day of popping. Man, I woke up this morning, put these bad boys on ice so they didn't cramp up. It's called recovery, all right? It's post-National Papa Shakas Day. If you don't know, National Papa Shakas Day, it's an annual event, happens on June 4th every year. I think we're up to our second or third year now. I honestly can't even remember. It's always been such a great success. Feels like the day's been going forever. People mark it in their calendars. It's kind of like Christmas for people who are fucking trash and just, woo, you. If you don't you at least one Shakas on National Papa Shakas Day, it's a day poorly spent, to be honest. So, my National Shakas Day started off like any other. I fucking popped a shack immediately, woke up. Dude, this is how crazy it is. It's almost like even in my unconscious state, I knew. I woke up and my hand is always under my pillow, kind of when I sleep. I kind of sleep like this, like how a cartoon sleeps. I even sleep like the most generic person in the world. I could just sleep really normally, right? But instead of my hand being flat on the pillow, it was just like this. I woke up and it looked like I was taking an imaginary phone call. But I was like, oh my God, am I on the phone with someone? Oh no, it's the best day of the goddamn year. And woke up, pretty much popped it all the way down to the kitchen, went beep, boop, beep, boop. Then ate some Shack Bix. Then just started my shay. I started the day with the first shack I did to a stranger yesterday was my garbage man, Shack the Garbo, which is, if you don't, on June the 4th, what are you doing? I don't know if he knew. He must have known because he reciprocated the shack. He was kind of hanging out the window. He was looking at the bin where he was getting, they look in like the rear view mirror. He was just like, look at the bin, saw me. I went, you, just wiggled it a bit, just to show that I come in peace. It wasn't a condescending shack. I wasn't trying to mock his noble profession. Because without garbage man, my house would be filled with trash. So it definitely wasn't a condescending shack. It was more like an uplifting 11 a.m. sun's out, shack's out kind of vibe. And he reciprocated, which was great. And I think he knew. He was like, oh, fuck, is today June 4th? Of course, National Papa Shakas Day. So that was great. Really awesome to see people participating on Instagram. Got messages from parents even, which was great, going, this is why, like, I was posting about it on my Instagram story throughout the day, and like a dad messaged me, and a mum going like, oh, this is why my son popped 4 Shakas at me this morning. She's like, and then the mum was like, man, I'm glad I reciprocated. And I was like, what a legend. She didn't even know that it was June 4th, but I guess she got the vibe of the day. And that's how this day is going to grow and spread over the course of time. We're only in the early stages. I would say a decade into celebrating this, we could be looking towards a public holiday. Give or take, 7 to 8 years now of, the movement spreading. And obviously this year I didn't really make a huge deal of it. Usually make a video and stuff like that, but just with what's going on in the world now, it didn't feel right to there's bigger issues in the world. We'll maybe, once we've solved systematic racism, we'll maybe make a push for maybe we'll start protesting for shacks. I do want to talk about what's happening in the world because it feels weird if you don't address it. You know what I mean? And you guys know how I feel. If you listen to this podcast for a while now, you'll know that I'm not great at covering the big issues. It was never the goal of this podcast. The goal is always lighthearted entertainment and escape for people. That's why I got into comedy. That's why I have this platform, right? Because people like me fucking around. But I guess sometimes, and you'll know this, whenever something big happens, I always try and use my platform for good, even though it is a small platform. You know, there's obviously every influencer has been talking about it, but I guess I'll just address it. And I only really ever do it because I know I know that people my age and older understand. Like, I'm not going to say anything new to most people here, but the only reason why I will address it is because I assume I have also a lot of younger people listening to this as well. And maybe I might change one person's mind and make one person think about it differently, and that's great. So, yeah. Before I talk about it, this is how crazy is it, the bubble that I live in. So on Friday, right, Lewis and I did a 24-hour live stream, which is where we just for 24 hours, we're in front of a camera entertaining people, and I just did not really check my phone for anything other than emails of people interacting with the live stream, stuff like that. And I got to Lewis's so I went to bed Thursday night at 4 a.m. That was my tactic. I was like, if I go to bed really late, I will be able to stay awake for longer the next day because I'll sleep until 1. I slept until 1 p.m. on the Friday. We started at 7 p.m. So I went to Lewis's in the afternoon, got there about 4 or 5 p.m. And, sorry. Oh, I need a drink. Guys, check this. I've got water in a Stein glass. That is fucking festive. Woo! Get hydrated while also prematurely celebrating Oktoberfest. Wow. Yeah, so that was my tactic. So Thursday, I obviously knew about what happened to George Floyd, what was going on in America, but I guess it really escalated quickly. It definitely did. People probably saw it gradually, but I didn't. So then I get into Lewis's. We spent 24 hours in his garage, literally 24 hours, secluded from the rest of the world, proper isolating myself from everything else in the world that was going on. I get out Saturday night. I go home. I go straight to bed. I'm fucked. I've been awake for 34 hours. I wake up Sunday afternoon and I go to my parents' house for dinner. And my dad goes, "Man, it's crazy what's been happening in America." And I go, yeah, the virus is really bad over there. You know, New York, it's terrible. And he goes, "What?" "Yeah, but it's on fire. People are looting, they're rioting." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, what? You haven't seen this?" And I was like, "Oh my God." And I went on my phone, opened up Twitter, every single social media platform that I had, because I just hadn't looked at it. I hadn't been on social media for 72 hours almost. And I was like, holy shit. And yeah, so it's just kind of scary that how easy I slip into a bubble unintentionally, just with work and doing everything that we do. If I don't actively go out and look for news and what's going on, I just don't see it unless I go on social media, which I've been trying to do less anyway, before this, because I don't know, I want to be more productive and stuff. So yeah, let's start at the black square thing on Instagram. That did nothing, right? I mean, okay, it sparked a conversation which absolutely needed to happen. And by the way, I'm not dismissing this because I'm not talking about it briefly because it's not my problem. It's a universal problem. This is everyone's problem, okay? And that's the most important thing I think you can take away from this week, is that it's everyone's problem and it's not going to go away until something is being done. It's obviously escalated in America really quickly, but that doesn't mean to say we don't have our own problems here with Indigenous people, stuff like that. So there's definitely some things you can do. What I've done, and I think what we should all be doing, is now's not the time for arguing with each other. All I've seen on social media since all this shit has gone down is white people just fucking throwing shots at one another, going, "Oh, I think this and I think this." Shut the fuck up, right? It's not the time to be arguing. It just slows everything down. It's the time to be listening. I've been educating myself. I've been reading, watching, taking everything in, trying to better myself, trying to further understand, man, as someone who's never experienced racism before, you really have to go out of your way to look into it. And because I've incredibly lucky, obviously, Memoirs of a White Guy. Look, this podcast name hasn't aged well this week, but this podcast has always been about the stupid privilege that I'm lucky enough to have. It's always been the running theme and joke of the podcast. So I'm the first person to acknowledge my privilege. So yeah, it's just what I've been doing is definitely just listen. Man, Logan Paul, believe it or not, I thought really put it perfectly on his podcast. He essentially just said it's not okay to be not racist. We need to be anti-racist, which I think it's pretty plain and simple. And it's awesome to see those people out there protesting in America. I don't agree with the looting and stuff like that. Those opportunist people are just stealing shit. I don't think that's going to change anything. I understand why people are angry for sure, but the people who are protesting and going about it the right way, I think are really making a great difference, which is awesome. Yeah, the black square thing. I posted a black square on Luke and Lewis, and people might disagree with me. I thought that did fuck all. I think that was doing the bare minimum. I think I just did it because a few friends messaged me and why aren't you using your platform, blah, blah, blah. And I was looking at everyone posting these black squares and I was like, look, this is like every time something happens. We've all seen it. It's like showing you care, but what are you actually doing? And I obviously, isn't it fucked up that, and I was talking to my mate about it. He's like, yeah, but you need to show where you stand. You know, you've got a lot of young fans. You need to show where you stand on this. I'm like, I think it's pretty obvious where I stand. I think it's obvious where 90% of people stand on this issue. Someone asked me during the week, so which side are you on? I was like, it's not a question. No one's on the other side. No, well, anyway, so obviously this has made me angry, and I've been thinking about this all week. I cannot get it off my mind. I think a lot of people might have been thinking about it, and the pressure to talk about. I've been like knowing whether I should talk about this on the podcast all week because I was like, man, I'm not going to add anything new. But then maybe silence is worse, and also the fact that this is unedited and I'm just speaking from the heart here. You know, it's I'm not worried about being criticized for what I say. That's the least of my problems. It's more just like, you know, I want to do the right thing. I don't want to say the right thing. So essentially what I'm doing is I donated some money to the National Justice Project, which is an Australian organisation dedicated to helping Indigenous people through health problems and a bunch of different stuff in custody. So I would check that out. The link is below. Lewis found that actually and donated some money as well. So that's what I've done. I'm trying to educate myself. And so, yeah, anyone who's American, yeah, it's awesome to see people out there protesting. And, man, all I got out of posting that black square, sorry, I keep moving away from that, was all I saw from us posting that on the Luke and Lewis page, and the reason why I didn't post it on mine, was just negativity. People just started commenting, like ripping each other, going, all lives matter. Dude, if you're an all lives matter person, what are you doing? I saw the best metaphor on TikTok, okay? So this is not my original thing, but this girl made a video and she was like, oh, this house is burning down. We need to go save them. There's people's lives at risk. And then it cuts back to the other character and she's like, but what about my house? She's like, oh, it's not on fire. Yeah, no, but my house matters. Yeah, right, but this house is on fire and these people need our help. I mean, yeah, but my house matters though. It's not, I'm not saying your house doesn't matter. I'm just saying these people, that's what you're doing. If you're like one of these people posting the black squares, it's like all lives matter. Yes. That's kind of the point. Those people really miss the point, I feel. And I'll probably get those morons commenting below this, maybe. I don't know. Who cares? They're fucking idiots. And yeah, so that's all I've got to say. Oh, that's all I've got to say about it is hold people accountable, be better, educate yourself, and if you can, try and make a difference. And I think that's it. So, and I will also say this regarding the National Papa Shakas Day thing. Apparently, and I've experienced this before, but not to this level, I'm the only profession in the world who's not allowed to do their job whenever whenever something like this happens in the world. Yesterday with the Shakas Day thing, I think we can all agree, I didn't make a huge deal about it. I put it on my Instagram stories and I posted about it late at night, and I didn't even make a new video. I reposted last year's video on Instagram at like 10 p.m. I didn't want to make the whole day about it. I just posted on my story going, it's Shakas Day. It's not like I even paraded around going, this is important, blah, blah, blah. I thought I handled it in a pretty sensitive way. And it's not like I chose that to start it. Like, it's been June 4th, and if heaps of people messaged me going, you know, it's Shakas Day coming up. I was like, I know, but it's not falling at a great time. And yeah, I just think, I get really annoyed. It's like, people go, oh, wow. I had comments going, really? You're posting about National Shakas Day? Have one fucking woke 15-year-old girl commenting, fill the room, Luke, on my picture. And then a bunch of other woke 15-year-olds. Okay, why wasn't this a class? I reckon year 9s need a class called Shut the Fuck Up. You know, like maths, humanities, English, science. Oh, and then period 4, we're attending Shut the Fuck Up. And you get in the class and you do a whole unit on when to shut the fuck up. You do another whole unit on how to shut the fuck up. And if you're in that class and you go, sorry, mister, shut the fuck up. Right? I would love to teach that class. Right, but I'm just confused as the curriculum. You're failing. Shh. I wish someone had have taught me that when I was 15. I really did. Because you don't know. Like, you don't know. You just think, I mean, maybe people would disagree. I don't think what I was doing was insensitive at all. I wasn't joking about the thing. I live in a completely different country. I was, if anything, people got, this is another thing. People got annoyed the day before at me because I went National Papa Shakas Day tomorrow, so make sure you get out there, Papa Shacks. And this is what I said. I was like, look, the world needs people to come together right now, and you never know. If you walk up to someone, hit that shack, it might put a smile on their face and make their day. And people had a problem with that. I said, I wasn't trying to solve a race war with my pinky and my thumb and going, you. I was going, yeah, give someone a shack tomorrow. It might make them smile. I wasn't even talking about what was happening in America. I was more talking about the fact that 2020 has been a shit year for everyone, and the virus, the pandemic. And I got this message going, wow, this is so tone deaf. I was like, are you actually deaf? Did you even hear what I said? You're getting mad at me for trying to make people happy. You're putting your own take and issues onto something I said and completely interpreting it the wrong way. If you thought my intent was to take away from what is happening in the world, you, sir, should have attended Shut the Fuck Up. It's a class that everyone should have attended. I wish I had have attended. I've said some stuff, and, you know, like when I didn't understand it. And yeah, with these year 9 girls who are like, fill the room. Hey, we're in a world pandemic. I'm unemployed almost as it is. Okay? I need to pay rent. And I think people don't see what I do as a job. I don't think people see this podcast as like a job, or YouTube as people just see me on the Instagram and go, wow, not caring. It's like, no, this is my job. This is like, imagine if I rocked up, if you're an accountant and I was like, whoa, mate, can you stop crunching some numbers? All right, there's bigger shit happening in the world, and you're sitting here doing someone's tax return. Fill the room. All right? So that's how I see it. Okay, you got to see it from my perspective. This is my job, right? If I don't work, I can't pay rent. And I think there's absolutely a way to go about it in a sensitive manner during times like this. Yet I feel like it's not like I'm joking about the thing. You know, that there would be, fair enough if I was making fun of it, or anyway, that really pissed me off. That's it. That's all I have to say about it. So, yeah, dude, I would love to teach that year 9 class. And I'm not even talking about these woke 15-year-old girls who have been, plaguing my Instagram, just infesting it with their shitty opinions. I'm just talking about in general. You might be in year 9 listening to this and go, but my opinion, nah. No, I feel like I'm still in the process of my life where I'm still forming all my opinions about stuff. Like, I'm very unopinionated, and this is why I don't talk about big issues, because it's not my strength. So I just try and read, get better. I know I joke a lot about not reading. I don't read books, but I always read articles, I'm really trying to improve myself in that way of trying to become a little more educated with what's happening in the world. And I'm 24 and I still feel like I shouldn't have the platform or the voice to be talking about this. But the fact is I do. So there's definitely a pressure I feel to address it, even though I fully acknowledge probably not the best guy for the job here. But yeah, that's my thoughts. If you can take anything away from that, it's yeah. If you are one of those people who I just addressed doing any of those things, shut the fuck up. It's not helping, and it's slowing things down. White people arguing with each other on Twitter at the moment. So yeah, just listen. Time for listening. Woohoo! Now let's move on. I hope I addressed that in an okay way, because I was going over this in my head all week, and even when I hit record on this podcast, I had no idea what I was gonna say. But I was like, I'm just gonna speak honestly, and that's it. Oh, one more thing. This not made me angry. I was just really confused, and I didn't think people. Maybe I shouldn't say this. I don't know. People were messaging me, going, "Man, like, how do you feel about all the stuff that's happening in the world?" And I was like, man, it's horrible. I was in disbelief. I was outraged. I felt like I had the same emotions that almost everyone had. I was in disbelief that this is still happening and something has to be done. And I was like, I'm going to do everything I can to help that. So I feel like I've definitely been proactive this week in what I've done, and I encourage other people to do the same. But what other people were asking me was, they were like, oh, I'm not sure how to feel about it. How should I feel about this? And I was like, what? I was looking around, but I was on Instagram. I was like, is they talking to me? I'm an idiot. You're asking me you're asking a privileged white person who's never experienced anything of this sort, why are you asking me? I like Fall Out Boy and Mountain Dew. Okay? Ask me, how do I feel about Panic at the Disco's new album? I'll be like, man, it was great. And that's how you should feel about that. I'm an expert at like 3 things. One of them is not the race riots that are happening overseas. Okay? So it's great. It's awesome. I'm chuffed. The people have such a high opinion of me. But the fact of the matter is, I should not be telling anyone how to feel about this. Form your own opinion unless you're 15 and have an Instagram account. And in that case, please do everyone the courtesy of shutting the fuck up. All right, I'm going to move on. So, all right, I got an announcement, guys. I, Luke Kidgell, will never finish an entire chapstick. There, I said it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I almost did it once. Maybe I did do it once. I don't think so. Will it ever happen? Who knows? I have pawpaw cream, right? Because I used to be on acne medication when I was in year 9 back in the days where I, really should have just been applying acne medication and shutting the fuck up, right? And throughout that time, I developed very sensitive skin and I became addicted to this little bad boy. And you might have seen me at my shows. I will stop mid-show sometimes on stage in front of a whole crowd of people and just go, sorry guys, I've got to apply some pawpaw cream because that's where my life's at. Now, if that is not the whitest shit you've ever heard, then I don't know what is. A man who is addicted to Lucas pawpaw ointment. And I will probably go through one of these bad boys. By the way, guys are tuning out right now. I'm aware of that. Girls, though, they're back in. They're like, wow, Okay, I didn't appreciate you telling me and my friends who are 15 to shut the fuck up, but pawpaw ointment, talk to me, Luke. Guys, you let me know how long it takes you to get through one of these bad boys. I reckon this lasts me for 2 months, but it never lasts me 2 months. I'll lose this. I'm about halfway down on this one, still have it intact. I lost another one during the week right near the end. Really disappointing. I think it's just my pockets. It slips out in the car. I'll be wherever I'm in during the day. I'll film. I'll do the old pocket pad, wallet, great, keys, phone. Fuck. Every time. Where's my pawpaw? I'll retrace my steps. It's gone. The amount of crevices this bad boy falls into. I would love to know if you've ever finished an entire chapstick or pawpaw ointment. We should make a wall of heroes on the podcast where we commemorate the people who have made their way through an entire chapstick. That would be unbelievable. And this is Angela. She finished her 3rd stick of pawpaw. It's been 20 years. Well done, Angela. What a hero. Or am I the only one? Am I the only person who can't keep tabs, bro? I need a GPS pawpaw. I would spend the extra money. I'd spend $80 on having a pawpaw that links to my phone. And it's like, Find My iPhone, find my Lucas pawpaw ointment. I would love that app. So if anyone wants to develop that, that would be great. Let me know. And happy to do a free spot ad read. The day you release it, happy to dedicate this platform for that as well. Always trying to do good up in this bitch. So yeah, that's a thing. Guys, I've realized why I am the way I am. Why sometimes I say things wrong. If you're a regular listener of this show, you'll know I like Luke. He's endearing. There's something just that people find endearing about me. And then I think that it's because firstly, I'm a damn freaking schnick. I'm a schnickety schnack. I'm a cutie pie. But the second reason is you definitely watch this going, I think I'm smarter than him, right? But it's like you watch me try, and that's kind of the appeal of this podcast. It's like, this is a guy who does his best. I say things wrong. My vocabulary isn't the greatest, but I provide some laughs along the way. And I think I've been trying to pinpoint the reason, and I think I've got it. The reason why I don't retain big words, how to pronounce things, basic stuff like that, is because I have too much useless information zipping through my brain, just driving by. I've got facts that just do fucking drive-bys through my brain and just fuck everything up, I've got just little thought, slugs have 4 noses. Or is it snails? I can't even remember the facts. They just go boom like that through my head. I just know random shit. And I also think about stuff. Do you ever have a thought that you just, why am I thinking about that? You're just like, what even triggered this thought? Right? Every single time, pretty much I go to make Weet-Bix. So I would say 5 times a week this happens, right? I think about that in year 9, my friend Jamie from high school, right? I always remember this. She told me, oh yeah, my dad crushes up the Weet-Bix, or likes the crushed up bits in the Weet-Bix. And sometimes he'll just make a full bowl of crushed Weet-Bix. When it gets to the end of the Weet-Bix and it's no longer a rectangle Bix and it's just it's all just, dude, if you eat that, I think you're a psychopath. If you just go, oh, fuck yeah, crumbs. I'm a rectangle Bix man. I like the way you can smash your way through the Bix. I like the way it's just, I have a systematic approach to my Bix. Yet I always remember Jamie, who's, one of my friends from high school. She was just like, yeah, man, my dad just loves the crushed up bit of the Bix. And I never forgot that. I forgot how to say some words in English. Right? I didn't even know how to pronounce Peugeot or Peugeot. I pronounced it Peugeot, and I think that's why. Because for years, every time I had Weet-Bix, I'd be like, oh, I wonder how Jamie's dad's doing. I've never even met her dad. Okay? I've been out of high school for 6 years. She told me that in year 9. right? And that just proves my point earlier as to why when you're 15, oh, shut the fuck up. Yeah, I probably told a bunch of people at the time, did you know Jamie's dad likes the Crush Bix of the Wheat Bix? And that's ruined my life. I think about that 5 times a week. It's been 10 years. I'm going to work that out. 52 weeks a year. And this, when I get the end figure here, you'll be like, oh, that's why Luke doesn't know stuff, because he spends all his time thinking about Jamie's dad's crushed up Wheat Bix. And I think that's explains a lot about this podcast and about me in general. So 5 times a week times 52, that's 1 year, right? Times 10. Cool. I've thought about that 2,600 times. 2,601 plus 1, because I'm talking about it now. This is why I don't know things. Do you have these thoughts as well? Another one. Oh, by the way, I want to know if her dad still does it. I feel like is it weird if I message her right now? Bearing in mind we haven't spoken for about 6 years. You know, like how would that go down? An out of the blue message from someone, from one of your high school friends going, I'll craft it right now, okay? I'm gonna go with, hey Jamie, that's a good start. Hey Jamie, hope you've been well. That's good. Hope you've been well. Great. What was the last time we spoke, actually, this is pretty out of the blue. The last time we spoke was in April 2018. So she sent me a message saying good luck for the comedy festival, because she couldn't go to the show. I think she was overseas at the time. And that's the last time we spoke. So, yeah. This is out of the blue, but that's all right. I feel like now there's a whole podcast community, you guys probably dying to know, like, well, Luke, does Jamie's dad still crush up the Bix? Because that's, if so, we should probably report him to the cops, because that is, I imagine that's what serial killers do. I'm not saying, that's rude. I'm not saying your dad's a serial killer, Jamie. I'm saying he has some traits of a serial killer. I mean, maybe I'm in the wrong here. Maybe other people like the crushed up crumbs from their Wheat Bix. I'm just not about that life. Okay, I'll go, hey Jamie, hope you're well. I'll say, just wondering if your dad still, I'll just ask her straight out, hope you've been well. I think that's all the formalities we need. Just wondering if your dad, it's put wondering wrong. And this is why, because I'm doing this with my time. Just wondering if your dad still likes the crumbs at the bottom of his Wheat Bix. Cool. Question mark. What should that be it? Or is that, no, I think I should, I think about this fairly often. After we discussed it once in year 9. After we discussed this once in year 9. All right, I'll let you guys know what Jamie says. Warning, she may not reply, as we haven't seen each other in a while, but hope she replies and we'll get an update next week. Great, that's sent. That is so out of the blue. Oh, that's so weird. She's going to be like, what the fuck? Why are you messaging? All right, what else I want to talk about? Oh! Guess who went to the Apple store last week and cracked the shit? This guy. Oh, by the way, actually, before I tell that, the reason why, I've had a shit week, I should probably say. The reason why I didn't do a podcast last week, Meg's been in our hospital. So she's okay. She's just having some trouble with her heart. But yeah, I've been going to visit her every single day. And that takes like 3 hours out of my day by the time I, get there and back and park and how it is. So, it's been a little, like, obviously not the greatest for my videos, but I've just been trying to, and also I'm like running a household at the moment. Dude, I am under the pump. I'm trying to do videos and the podcasts, and I'm going to Frankston to do Luke and Lewis twice a week. We did that 24-hour live stream. We're like going all over the place and visiting Meg in hospital. I've got to keep the house tidy, like dishes and, really what I'm complaining about is being a functioning member of society and woo, I'm just not coping well at all. I feel like a single dad at the moment, but I'm the kid who's being taken care of. Like I'm the dad who's going, Jesus, mate, I'm running around doing this and that. And I'm also the kid going, oh, but is it time for PlayStation yet? I think I should play Battlefront for 4 hours. So I've been, all over the place. I've been fucking busy. I've got those I always have them, but like I got the rings around my eyes. Like I walked in to the hospital to visit Meg, who is in hospital, hasn't been sleeping well, and is in there for a reason, right? So she's not in a great way. And she goes, "Ugh, you look terrible." And I was like, damn, Jesus Christ. I was like, I need to get myself together. That is a wake-up call, if anything. When your girlfriend who's been in hospital for over a week tells you that you look like shit. I was like, woo, mamma mia. I need to get my shit together. Some random on Omegle was like, you look like a meth addict. And I was like, wow, I've never done a drug in my life. That's my vibe now. I just look like, do you know how, that's pretty, I mean, it's rude for sure, but it's, I'm not, you don't see me sitting here disputing it, do ya? I just have really bad rings under my eyes. I've always had that. Like as an adult, I've just always had rings under my eyes. I used to have freckles when I was a kid and I've replaced it with just bags under my eyes. I don't know what's happened to me. So yeah. Oh, sorry guys. I've just had a shit one. I just need let's all just take 5 seconds to just stretch it out. Oh, this is really unprofessional. Most people would cut this out. Oh, I needed that. Woo. I think I just came. I've had a shit week, to be real with you all. But it's been awesome. The people in my Discord have been like super cool about it. And so that's why there's been a lack of content. I've been trying to pump out stuff, but I'm so tired. I'm running off like 4 hours sleep right now. I'm just not sleeping. I don't know if I'm worried about Meg. I mean, that'd be a good indicator that the love of my life is in hospital and I'm very concerned. But she's okay, by the way. I'm a worrywart. I don't know. Anyway, what's my stress out of my watch? Oh, fuck. I'm sitting at an 88 and I've been sitting at a 90 plus all week. I'm starting to think this watch is accurate and I'm just having a fucking shit one. Dude, like everything keeps going wrong. This is the second time I've done this podcast, by the way, right? Because the last time I did it, the manual focus was on and not auto, and it was completely blurry and completely unusable. And I didn't end up talking about the issues on it anyway with what's happening in the world. So I felt like I probably should do it again. And I've honestly, I don't even know what I talked about. I forget. It wasn't even that good. So, and I felt like it was important to try and use my platform for change. And even if the only thing I achieved on today's podcast was getting some woke 15-year-olds to cease on Instagram and quit arguing. That's all it was, by the way, under Luke and Lewis. I checked the people's profiles. I was like, I want to see who the kind of person is that comments all lives matter under a post that isn't about them. I just wanted to see it. And I was like, oh, some woke child who doesn't understand how the world works. That's awesome. So yeah, if you are a principal of a school or if you're in charge of some form of curriculum, if you could just add a unit around year 8, year 9, year 10. Year 10, you probably should have learnt it already. But I really wish in that early stages of like, I'm hitting puberty, if someone just had been like, shh, for a double period a week, I would probably be a better person. Someone just had been like, shh. I'm like, sorry, is that? And then if you just sit there silently, right? So this is the class. You get in there, the bell goes ding, and you just go, excuse me, failed. kicked out of the classroom. Idiot, didn't shut the fuck up. I would love that as a class. I think that's such a good idea. I'm a genius. I am just a revolutionary. I should be in education. I should be a teacher, I think is what I'm saying. I need to be in charge of the next generation. You know why? Because they'll go to open their mouth and be like, so can you tell us about that? Oh, why you're talking? That's what I want to do so much. I'm not even talking out of my Instagram post. Mine's like 99% of people are really great. And yeah, you get the 1%, you get the, feel the room, Luke. I left the comment there because I thought it was funny. I was like, you don't understand. You don't understand what being insensitive is. What I did was 100% not insensitive. Well, I don't think so anyway. Yeah, well, do you spend the majority of your time on social media just if you're browsing through like someone's comment section, particularly at the moment, just going like, why are you talking? Like, I've been relatively silent about this until the podcast. And the reason why I'm doing this now is because it's my podcast, right? But I wouldn't do this I wouldn't comment back. You know, I didn't reply to those girls going, you need to take a class called Shut the Fuck Up. I was just like, that's not going to, you know, spread any positivity. That's what I'm about these days, man. I'm just trying to be more positive online. That's why I stopped reviewing videos of 15-year-olds, you know, like Jacob's Tutorials. I was like, this is funny. I don't regret it. And the main point of those videos was talking about how they were kind of being forced into the music industry by adults who were using them. And also, but I just felt weird. Like, I'm an adult trashing a 15-year-old. This is weird. So I just stopped doing those kind of things. And I think I would like to say maybe my content doesn't get as many views as it used to but I feel like it's improved for the better. And even if I do, I've got a lot better actually over the years of trashing something in a fun way. Like, I think a really good example of that was the Yummy video about Justin Bieber's new song. Like, it's a terrible song, but I definitely trashed it in like a fun way. Even if you like the song, you can be like, yeah, this is still pretty funny. I feel like I used to go way too hard and I just wasn't funny enough for me to be going hella hard like that. But you live and you learn. Woo! What was I going to talk about next? Oh, yeah. Meg was in hospital. Apple Store. No, actually, before Apple Store. Isn't it crazy? Like, I just want to talk about it. It's just like all I've been thinking about. So, obviously, we've had bushfires, then coronavirus, now all this stuff that's going on, Black Lives Matter stuff. I think we can all agree, this has easily been the most wild year, at least of my lifetime. For sure, hands down, without a doubt. On a global scale, I'm talking here. It's just been, I would not have called this a year ago. Don't think anyone would have. The race stuff, I think, is been, you know, that's the most called for thing. Coronavirus came out of nowhere, but this stuff, I don't think anyone's surprised, and I think it's it's unfortunate how the world is, right? That something horrible has to happen for people to start talking about it, but that's the way the world works, sadly. That's the only way people bring attention to these issues. What was my point? Oh, yeah, my point was, so America, right? You know, by the way, horrible what's happening there at the moment, but you know, like in movies and shit, white Americans used to always from white Americans used to be like, America, it's the greatest country in the world. Whew, that doesn't age well at all. I don't think a lot of people want to go there anymore. After how they handle the coronavirus, now this, I would feel embarrassed at the moment to be an American. It's not the individual's fault. It's largely the government, and it's unfortunate that a bunch of people who are assholes have the power in that country. Anyway, my point was, the world's just fucked, but how's Antarctica just straight up chilling throughout all of this? Just down there going like, what up? Sure, global warming is an issue. They've got an ongoing issue, the fact that it's melting, but you know what? 90% of their population can swim. So it's just penguins, polar bears, you know, and the scientists who are there, they've got a boat, they'll be fine. I mean, the land mass is completely fucked, but dude, go there to self-isolate, man. That's Rona free for sure. How crazy is that? I just think, I was thinking about this week. I was just like, you know, America, it's completely fucked. Australia, you know, we've still got the virus and things, you know, what's happening here is almost no better. Looking at Europe, going, Europe's fucked. I was like, dude, Antarctica have just dodged a bullet. And it really shows that we're the problem, aren't we? Humans are the problem. Like you put a place with like hardly any humans. All the countries that are in the best state in the world right now have the least people. Humans are the worst thing to ever happen to the earth. And I'm part of the problem. I'm sitting here doing a fucking podcast. What's that doing about it? Nothing. So, yeah. Guys, I went to the Apple Store. I'll tell this story and then we'll end the podcast, okay? Because I've been a bit ranty on this podcast and I'm not good at making points. I go on too many tangents. I think I have the mind of like a year 9, you know? Guys, I need to shut the fuck up. I should have taken that class, but it was never offered to me. So, last Wednesday, I started the day like any other day. I'm doing my business. On the toilet, vacuuming the stack. I was a stacked up boy, and there's one thing you got to do. You got to vac it. Okay, I'm not going to come on this podcast and hide my poos. All right, I'm a human being. I shit. Okay, you know what? And if you have a problem,
I make no apologies. This is me.
I poo. Right, so I was doing one of them, and I would say it was a classic 8 to 10 minute vibe. In and out, did what I had to, scrolled on some TikToks. Now, the key part information you need to know is my iPhone 7 was at 70% when I came in. iPhone 7, by the way. Oh, I'm getting a call from my brother. Yo.
What's up? I'm leaving Simo's now. I'm not going to bother going home. I'll just come to yours, but I can just turn your PlayStation on for a bit. I don't care.
That's cool. I'm just finishing my podcast, just telling a story about me shitting at the moment.
What?
I was telling a story about me pooping, and you've really interrupted it.
Why are you talking about yourself pooping?
Well, I'm not pooping myself.
No, but who wants to hear about that?
Oh, no one. But they don't get a choice.
Hang on. So who's shitting in the story?
Me.
So you're telling a story about yourself taking your shit.
I mean, well, yeah.
That's not content. Everyone shits.
No, but like something interesting happened while I was pooing.
What interesting thing happened while you're taking a shit?
My phone's battery went down by 40%.
Oh, that's upsetting.
You see? Now you're back in. Now you're going, tell me more.
How'd you survive?
Well, I didn't. I went straight to the Apple Store and bought a new iPhone.
While you were pooing?
No, I wiped and then I went to the Apple Store.
Fair enough. I'll see you soon.
All right, I'll open the door.
Bye.
Bye. Sorry, guys, just gonna open the door for my brother. He's coming around because his internet's out. This is how privileged my family is. His internet, he had a planned outage at his house, and he goes, "Oh, can I come over to your house and play PlayStation?" So I'm gonna go over my door, and I'll come back and finish telling the poo story. All right. So, I'm pooping. I'm doing my business now. I said iPhone 7. I've already spoiled what happens in the story. I'm just on the phone to my brother, I've realized, but I'm on my iPhone 7, which is like a fossil at this point. I had a button on my phone. Imagine that. Most people probably can't. People used to hand me their phones going, "Hey, mate, can you take a photo?" And if they have one of those new iPhones, like probably 9 or above, I don't know when they stopped using the button. Maybe I was the last model that had the button. But I was just like, oh, yeah. I always used to go, "Sorry, could you unlock that?" Because I don't know what to do. Because I'm like, oh, I have a button on my one. Oh, sorry, that was rude. So yeah, I'm rocking like some Egyptian shit, right? I reckon I would have been judged. There's probably pictures of iPhone 7 somewhere on pyramid walls, just in hieroglyphics, and it's just got a massive arrow pointing to the button, going, "This is an artifact. Should be in a museum next to Tutankhamun or whatever his name was." that Pharaoh guy. I reckon there was probably, my point is there was a Pharaoh that probably I had an iPhone 7. I was running an old setup and I'm in there doing my business, right? 8 to 10 minutes, just scrolling on TikToks. I get to the end, I finish up, I look at my phone battery. It was on 70% on the way in. It's now on 30%. In 10 minutes. And all I've done is watched some TikToks and checked Instagram. Guys, if there's one thing that I need in this world, it's to watch TikToks while I poop. Okay? I'll have none of that. All right? I'm all for saving money and I'm all for, not buying. Like, that's the thing. I didn't want a new phone. I was running an iPhone 7 for ages. I'm not one of those people that needs the newest thing. But if I can't watch TikToks when I poop, that's where I draw the line. So I did the most impulsive thing I've ever done. I was not planning on leaving the house that day. I just started putting on jeans. And Meg was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going to the Apple store. I'm buying a new phone. And she's like, why? Do you need a new phone? And I was like, yes, it just went down 40%. And she's like, oh, well, you do need to watch TikToks while you poop. I was like, see? She gets it. That's why she's the one. All right? So I marched away, I went to the Apple store. They're doing COVID testing, right? The only store in Australia that makes you wear a mask and queue up, get your temperature checked. It's more strict than the hospital, actually. I've been going to the hospital every single day, and Apple had a stricter process. I don't have to wear a mask when I go into the hospital, yet to buy an iPhone, I had to wear this mask. One iPhone, thanks. And she's like, sorry, what? I was like, oh, you can't hear me or see my mouth moving because I'm wearing a mask and it's muffled, right? And this store's very loud. And dude, lip reading is key in the Apple store because there's like a lot going on, right? But they don't have as many people in there at the moment and they're following the laws. I get it. Anyway, the girl was actually great. And if you don't know, I've got an ongoing, it's not even a rivalry anymore. I've got an ongoing skirmish between myself and Apple. It's just this constant feud. Actually, you know what? It's a bad relationship. I'm in a toxic relationship with Apple. And the last update, I guess, was instead of buying an Apple Watch, I bought a Garmin. And that was kind of my last strike against Apple. And that was only a couple of weeks ago. So Apple's probably a little bit salty with me at the moment. But I do what everyone does at Apple. I like their software. I hate the prices. So much. And I'm just in their little web now. Like, oh, but if you get a MacBook, you need an iPhone because then you can AirDrop stuff and that's a lot easier. And it is. It's great for my job. And I just keep arming and ahhing going like, oh my God, I should get another phone. No, I need an iPhone. Whatever. So I go, what are your iPhones? She's like, there's the 11 or the 11 Pro or the 11 Pro Max. Now, the 11 Pro Max, that's half an iPad in your pocket. Don't call that a phone. It's a tablet. It's this big. It was bigger than my head. Even my current iPhone, which is not the biggest one, by the way, is almost as big as my head. That's too big. Okay? I'm walking around with a freaking monitor in my pocket. And by the way, she didn't even try and upsell me. She knew. She just knew. I was like, so what's the difference between the 11 and the 11 Pro? And she goes, the 11 Pro has more vivid colors on the screen. And I was like, okay, I'm not 4. I don't need vivid colors. I'm not like, ooh, pink, right? I was like, yep, okay. And then she's like, and then the other one, the 11 Pro also has one more camera lens, like one more lens. It's a wide angle for when you're taking photos for your Instagram. She goes, it's more for people who are into photography. And I just go, right, but if you were into photography, you wouldn't be taking photos on an iPhone. And then she goes, correct. She didn't even try and sell it to me. She just goes, I agree. And I went, right, so there's no other difference. There's no same processing power. She's like, yep. And I was like, right, and it's $600 more. She goes, yes. I was like, for vivid colors and one more lens. This already has 2 lenses on it. To get the third lens, $600 more. She goes, yes. And I went, and what's the more popular phone? She goes, definitely just the base model, the 11. And I went, that's what I thought. And I go, just out of curiosity, why? She goes, She couldn't say it's a ripoff. Like, she was just avoiding saying it's a ripoff. She goes, it's a much more reasonable price point. And I was like, yes, but the other one seems like a bit of a ripoff. And she goes, well, this one is more reasonable, yes. Because she didn't want to get fired. And that's fair enough. So yeah, I ended up getting an iPhone 11 and god damn, it's so big. And I didn't even know how to use it. Then it took me 5 hours to set it up. That's what they don't tell you. They go, iPhone 11, it does this and does that. It has this camera, it does this camera. Not one time on the box or in the store does it say, this will ruin your night trying to set it up. It doesn't say that at all. It should say when you buy it, by the way, you're going to need 2 Nurophens and a fucking 8-hour sleep after you try and set this up. Because I sat there and I sat there for 5 hours. It wasn't syncing up my old information on it. And I'm just cracking it. Meg's going, you need to just calm down. And I'm like, I'm not going to calm down. I've been here for 4.5 hours. All I'm trying to do is like, I spend $1,500 and then it ruins my night. It should be, the worst part of my day should be handing over $1,500. That should be the shittest part of my day, is spending $1,500 on a thing that I'll eventually buy a new one in 2 years anyway. That should be the worst part of my day. But instead, the worst part of my day was setting the damn thing up. So guys, it made me angry, but this was a week ago now. And all I remember is how angry I was. And maybe if I had have talked about this, if I did a podcast last week, I probably would have had a more structured rant on the topic. But the reality is, I only remember how I feel. And now my stress level, right, we're up at a 92. So that's pissed me off. All right, guys, that's the end of the podcast. Yeah, that's it. I got nothing else to say other than I hope you guys go out there this week, show respect for one another, all right? And don't lose your chapstick. And also, if you're in year 9, shut the fuck up. Great. Have a good one. See you later.
Somewhere